Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. So hello, G from the land, Mr. Elevation, Aqua Girl Rising, Pretty Wings. All right, let's get into it. Trisha, that's a G. Okay, Mr. Elevation. No, that wasn't you. I'm thinking about Emperor Rex. All right, Chris B is in the virtual building, Peaceful Living. Okay, let's get into it. Mel Campbell. Okay, Volvo, where have you been? Aquarius MC. All right, so shout out to all my loyal royals. I see you, Desmond, and shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Now, before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. And everybody, please hit the like button. Okay, that's the least you can do. Help get us in the algorithm. Like and share. Hey, Loya and Gregory. Okay, so let's get into it. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's talk about how they're going to be monitoring people on social media and elsewhere. And if you say anything to criticize BB's people, you're going to be monitored. Okay, let's talk about it. They said they're going to check your bank accounts and all of that. I don't know why they should have any capability of checking anyone's bank accounts. And what does that have to do with criticizing them? Now, mind you, it doesn't say fighting them, threatening them, or anything like that. It says criticizing them. So you mean you can't say certain things about certain people lest they check your bank accounts? Okay, so let's go to the footage. This is all on X. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to go to a couple of videos on X, and then we're going to get into these updates. Now, as you can see, this is Satan Yahoo. It says, Satan Yahoo just declared war on Americans who say that his people are committing a genocide. Okay, and then it says U.S. needs to rethink or should rethink considering Bibi's people as allies.
I say to you in front of these vilifications, do not cower. Do not bend. Do not bow your head. Fight back, because people respect those who respect themselves. And the minorities that fought back, whether it's the blacks or the gays or women, they fought back. And what we have to do as Jews, both here in Israel and in the various Jewish communities around the world, beginning with the United States, is to fight back. Silence will not help. Looking askance will not help. Fight back. That's what I tell you. That's what I tell young Jewish students that I meet. I'm very proud of them when I meet. I say to you in front of these
Palestinians, I have a question. Does he think that the Palestinians should be allowed to fight back? You know, because they just passed a law over there making it legal for them to give death sentences to the Palestinians. Okay, and I don't think they get the same treatment for the same crimes. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm just wondering. Now, here's a video clip someone posted of one of Bibi's people in New York saying that he tried to seize a New York home using a fake ownership. Okay, he had fake ownership papers and then tried to force the residents to leave. Now, we've also seen videos of this happening over in the Gaza Strip. Okay, so I find that interesting.
It's the second time he came around talking about he trying to get him.
All right, Daniel.
On the stand.
Going to do inspection of the house.
Ain't no inspection. You don't own the house. Get out of here.
Daniel,
you don't own
Daniel,
nothing.
You know there's a court order.
Like, get court order.
Must vacate.
No, get out of here. Fake ass court order. Look at this nigga sound scam. This guy been here for years. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. He's born here. Get out of here. When they called the cops, you came, the cops came, they did nothing. Get out of here. Yo, oh yeah. I don't know if you know this guy's trying to scam. We're not playing over here. We're not playing. We don't give a fuck about that little fake ass hat. We're not his fucking hat on. We're not playing. You heard me? We're not playing. I'm trying to play. I'm trying to get him the fuck out of here before he gets himself hurt out here. You heard? We don't give a fuck about that hat. You heard? We don't give a fuck about that hat. We'll knock his fucking head off.
Okay, you can't go to New York trying to be something not with the black folk in New York anyway. It doesn't look good. Okay, now you have the soldiers, the IDF. They say they're hiding inside shelters out of fear, out of the Iranian missiles. Their bravery only extends to children and women, they say. Okay, here you go. It looks like they are hiding out. And then just days ago, we saw where they were. It don't look so big and bad to me. Okay, not at all. And then this last one, American citizens. Now listen to this. American citizens who criticize the use and Bibi's area or his state will now be monitored by the FBI. Says we will monitor social media and check your bank accounts. I have 40 analysts working 24/7, 7 days a week. Who gives an F? Because I sure as hell don't. I'm going to say what I want to say about whoever I want to say it about. And that's on facts.
So number one, we measure and track. Number two, we monitor and disrupt. We have a whole apparatus. I have 40 analysts working full time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, monitoring extremists. We monitor them online, social media, messaging apps, video games, cryptocurrency, podcasts, short form video, Wikipedia, LLMs. We monitor these people and we share the intelligence with the FBI. You saw last month, you heard about the thing that happened at Wilshire Boulevard Temple. Our analysts investigated what happened. They said they were Koreatown for Palestine, this group of people. They weren't. We were able to ascertain they were from a group called the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Turtle Island is how like left-wing activists refer to the United States. They don't call it America, they call it Turtle Island, like the Iranians call it the Zionist entity, or they only call it by its name. The Turtle Island Liberation Front, we gave them a whole dossier. What is Turtle Island Liberation Front? What are their ideas, their goals? Who are they? We identified the people who are in the synagogue. This was on Wednesday, December the 10th. On Monday, December the 15th, this is going to ring a bell. Kash Patel announced they cracked a terror ring where they arrested 4 people who were planning New Year's Eve bombings. Turtle Island Liberation Front. At least one of the people I know for certain was in the building at Wilshire Boulevard Temple, vandalizing it and disrupting the event. So we're monitoring left-wing radicals like the DSA and the anti-war crazies and the pro-Palestine crazies. We're monitoring right.
Oh, he can miss me with it, talking about they're monitoring white supremacist groups. No, they're not. If they were monitoring white supremacist groups, they wouldn't be dealing with Trump or Keg's breath, because that's exactly what those clowns are, in my opinion. Okay, so with that all being said, that's the latest. Okay, so watch what you say about Bibi's people or else, lest you find yourself on a whole terrorist list. Like I told you all years ago, we already knew this was coming. I'm going to still go in and drag Bibi. I don't give a darn. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, let's first go to Trump's lies. Okay, because remember how he kept switching the story about why they're actually in Iran? And so let's just go to this compilation of the lies. Okay, please pay attention. Oh, I guess they're going to scare everybody into submission. Please pay attention, people. Okay, now here's the thing. If people are making extremist threats, threatening to harm, injure, and things like that, well, those people should be monitored. But that specifically said on that caption, people criticizing, as in people can't say anything. People can say what they want to say about whomever they choose to say it, unless they're saying something that's a threat, okay, or something violent. Now, with that all been said, let's continue. Now, listen to your lying president.
Change was not one of the things I had as a goal. I had one goal. They will have no nuclear weapon. And that goal has been attained. They will not have nuclear. And we're going to try to get people that are going to run it well. And it's going to be a prosperous, wonderful place. It used to be. To the great, proud people of Iran, when we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred. And we have, right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks.
On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you talking
but soon.
about days?
I think so.
Okay, and with respect
Very soon. The war's going to be over in 3 days. My prediction, it turns out. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Now, regime change was not one of the things I had as a...
Just ridiculousness and just nothing but lies, pathological lies at that. Now, here's the thing I want you all to pay attention to. MAGA is so obtuse. Do you know that I actually saw a post on X just last night where a bunch of MAGA idiots, cult members clearly, were talking about that Trump's planning such a masterful scheme that he's clearly playing chess. Now, this is what they literally said, and I want you to pay attention. They said that Trump is purposely losing the war. They said he's trying to lose the war on purpose. This was all his plan from day one. And that the reason that he went in on the allies is because he never wanted their help to start with. What he really wants to do is make us lose the war because he knew that Iran would shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And therefore, nobody would be able to get any oil. So everybody who needed oil would have to come to the United States and buy oil from us, therefore enriching the United States. This is what they said. They didn't make this up. They literally said that. They're trying to make an excuse for why he is doing so pathetically with the handling of this war that he started that's absolutely illegal, in which they have committed war crimes, in which one of our pilots has been captured and is being held hostage. Are y'all listening to the BS? I mean, how does this make a bit of sense? I don't know about the rest of you, but beloveds, I absolutely cannot. Peaceful Living said delusional idiots. I mean, that is exactly what they are. Ashkan says going down in flames so that the extent of the corruption would be visible to the people might be something. Starseed Oracle said, I believe it. She said that they're saying, uh, that Crazy Beach area said, you heard it too? This is crazy. What if he actually is? And they said that this plan literally makes Trump a genius. That's what they said. They said it makes Trump a genius. Let me tell you why I don't think that's Trump's plan. Because first of all, I don't think that Trump or any of his minions, and I mean by his cabinet, when I say that, I don't think that any of them had sense enough to know that doing this, striking Iran, would make them shut down the Strait of Hormuz. I don't think they had that in mind. See, in order for them to have come up with this whole scheme, that means they would have had to have known, okay, previously, beforehand, that Iran would absolutely shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And I don't think they had that much foresight because they're just not that smart. I think that people are giving them a bit too much credit, if you ask me. Okay, but let's go to this next clip.
Well, over the past few weeks, we've heard a lot of bluster from the Trump administration about the war in Iran. We've heard a lot about how the United States is dominating Iran, how we've obliterated their military, how we've already won the war. And amid all that bravado, there's been one specific boast that Trump and his allies have come back to over and over again, and that is the claim that the U.S. has complete and total control over the airspace over Iran.
We're over their skies with the most beautiful planes you've ever seen, roaming free. There's not a damn thing they can do about it.
The two most powerful air forces in the world will have complete control of Iranian skies, uncontested airspace.
They are roaming the skies over Tehran. They're not even being shot at because their equipment's been totally decimated. They have nothing to shoot.
We expect to have complete and total dominance over Iranian airspace in the coming hours.
And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it. We're flying wherever we want, Pete. We have nobody even shooting at us.
We're flying wherever we want, Pete. Nobody's even shooting at us. Well, it turns out that's not true. Today, Americans woke up to the news that Iran had shot down a U.S. F-15 fighter jet flying over Iranian airspace. 2 crew members were ejected from the plane before it crashed inside Iran. American forces then proceeded to carry out a search and rescue operation inside Iran, looking for the stranded crew members. One of those crew members has been rescued. A search continues for the second crew member. And that rescue mission has put more American service members in harm's way as they navigate Iranian territory in aircraft, as you can see here, that are slower moving and having to fly closer to the ground. The Washington Post cites multiple U.S. officials who say that 2 Black Hawk helicopters involved in the rescue operation were hit by Iranian fire, injuring U.S. personnel on board. Both aircraft were reportedly able to safely return to base. Now MS Now has matched reporting that a second plane involved in the rescue mission took fire and was damaged. The pilot of that plane was forced to eject over the Persian Gulf and was safely recovered. Meanwhile, the Iranian government is offering Iranian citizens a reward for the capture of the missing crew member. Needless to say, this entire situation is incredibly precarious and incredibly grave. But the president, who spent the last few weeks boasting about our control over Iranian airspace, seems almost unbothered by the whole thing. His first public comment didn't come until 3:20 p.m., hours after the news broke, and it came in the form of a 4-word social media post. He said, quote, "Keep the oil, anyone?" End quote. So American troops were in the middle of a rescue mission for a soldier stuck behind enemy lines, and Trump was casually musing about taking Iranian oil like someone at brunch ordering fries for the table. Oil, anyone? Trump then went on to give a series of short phone interviews in which he repeatedly brushed aside the implications of this crisis. He told NBC News that he didn't think any of this would affect his negotiations with Iran and complained about news coverage of the rescue operation. He was later asked by The Independent what he'd do if the missing crew member is captured or harmed by Iran. He told the outlet, well, I can't comment on it because we hope that's not going to happen. And he ended the call shortly thereafter. Trump's flippant attitude about this very serious situation is galling, but it's completely consistent with the way that he's treated this entire war, which incidentally, he's tried very hard to avoid calling a war because legally he'd have to get congressional approval for a war. Ever since the day Trump launched this war from his Florida beach club wearing a trucker hat, he's treated it like a video game. His administration has released a series of highly offensive propaganda videos that they reportedly call banger memes. They splice together real footage of American airstrikes with sports footage, with video game footage, even clips of SpongeBob SquarePants. And Trump has insisted on talking about the war like it's a golf trip or a weekend getaway, repeatedly and purposefully calling it an excursion.
We took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil. A little bit of an excursion over the last 2 weeks. This is an excursion, a little excursion, but we're doing this excursion. We did an excursion. You know what an excursion is? When I went on this excursion, as I call it. Excursion. Excursion. You mind if I take a little excursion here?
Just a little excursion. When talking about the war, Trump also regularly focuses on the parts of his administration, the parts of the war that his administration finds entertaining. Last month, when talking about a U.S. strike on Iran's Karg Island, Trump told NBC News, quote, "We may hit it a few more times just for fun," end quote. He's repeatedly told this morbid story about sinking an Iranian ship for the same reason.
I was a little upset with Pete. I said, why didn't you save the ships? We could have used them, right? He said, it's more fun shooting them down. So why didn't you capture it? We could have used them. They said, it's more fun to put them at the bottom of the sea. And actually, one of my generals said, sir, it's a lot more fun doing it this way. He said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, they like sinking them better.
Every time this president describes a military operation, he sounds like a teenager playing with his Xbox. Here he was just last week describing how he felt watching the U.S. military intercepting Iranian missiles.
I watched their performance. Missiles launched, missiles launched. You have to see it. It's very cool. Missiles launched, missiles launched, missiles launching. They're launching. Okay, we're ready. Fire, boom, fire, boom.
I watched their performance. Fire, boom, fire, boom. Now, with an especially desperate situation, an American soldier desperately in need of rescue, with American men and women risking their lives in what might be the most dangerous operation of this war yet, the president's wartime attitude feels that much more outrageous. Donald Trump is incapable of grasping the gravity of this situation in which he has put our country as a matter of choice. This is a very serious situation that is being handled by very unserious people.
Their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. We're flying wherever we want, Pete. We have nobody even shooting at us.
This is you all's president. Okay, this is you all's president. Now, with that all being said, listen. Hip Hop Culture Judge says, I told y'all this is going to be bad searching for the pilot because it's going to use a helicopter, which means hovering search makes easy target. Yes. And 2 helicopters have been shot down. But, you know, Trump says they don't have any air power. Okay. Any air defenses. So thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, let me say this. So Ashkan asked a very good question. Would you prefer for your leader to be stupid, evil, crazy, or crazy, and why? Now, what would you all say? I want to know what you all would say. Put your answers in the chat, and then I'm going to tell you what I think. Would you prefer for your leader? Now, here's the problem. Trump's all 3 of those, and then some. Would you prefer for your leader to be stupid, evil, or crazy, and why? Which one would you all prefer? Nessa G said, this leader is all of those. Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Midnight Decipher said, none of the above. Well, we don't want any of them, but if you had to choose, okay, if you had to choose, now it's easy to say none of them. Come on, guys. We all know that we prefer none of those things, but if you had to choose, none's not an answer. None is not an answer. Because here's the thing. I'm going to say I would prefer for them to be, some people are saying crazy. Ashkan says evil. Hip hop culture says evil. I would prefer for them to be evil. And here's why. I wouldn't want them to be stupid, which is the main thing that Trump is, but I wouldn't want them to be stupid because a stupid person has no logic. Okay, and you can't explain things logically to a stupid person. They're not going to get it because very often they're delusional, just like Trump. Okay, so they don't have logic, so they can't understand and comprehend logic when you're trying to tell them something. So they would probably do the most ignorant or dangerous things. I think the stupid person is more dangerous because they lack the logic. Second of all, I wouldn't want a crazy person because a crazy person could also be delusional, and they would be someone who's unhinged and harder to reel in if they're doing something disastrous. Crazy people don't tend to listen. They're harder to control. I would rather have the evil person because at some point, an evil person can in some cases even be talked down from doing something so nefarious. You could give them a logical reason as to why they shouldn't do it, that it could be categorically catastrophic for everyone, including them. So you could rein them in. But the crazy person and stupid person, and which sadly Trump is all three, as I said, those are harder to manage. That's just my opinion. Okay, hip hop culture said evil could be diabolical. Yes, they could, but they would at least have logic. Okay, crazy people tend to not have logic either for the most part. So Peaceful Living said you can be angry because of injustice. That's right. Injustice could make you evil. Okay? So there you have it. Okay, so that was a good question. I just wanted to see what you all thought about that. Now, let's go to this clip where they talk about the search for the pilot. Now, if you ask me, and this is from CBS, if you ask me, they really are wasting their time searching for the pilot because Iran has already admitted that they have the pilot. Okay? U.S. races to find missing crew member after fighter jet shot down over Iran. This is a report from 4 hours ago. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. And I'll tell you something else, too. Often, evil leaders tend to be smart. They tend to be intelligent. They're just evil. A stupid person, yeah, they don't have intellect. Okay? And a crazy person could be listening to the voices in their head for all you know.
Search for a U.S. service member after 2 American warplanes were downed in Iran yesterday. One member of the F-15 fighter jet crew was rescued, but it's not known what happened to the other crewmen on board. U.S. and Iranian officials also say an A-10 Warthog being used during the search and rescue mission for the first downed aircraft was shot. That pilot was able to safely eject over the Persian Gulf. In Israel, emergency services say one person is injured from shrapnel after a missile attack from Iran that was intercepted. Let's now go to Elizabeth Palmer, who is in Tel Aviv this morning for the latest. Liz, good morning.
Good morning. It's now been well over 24 hours since that F-15 went down, and we've still had no official word from the Pentagon on an intensive search and rescue mission that's underway now and, in fact, went on all night. From the president, we've just heard him claim that the incident is not going to affect any negotiations that may or may not go ahead with Iran.
Here are the helicopters yesterday flying over southwestern Iran looking for the fighter plane's crew and being shot at by local men. Not only was one of these F-15 fighter planes shot down, but so was a heavy warplane called a Warthog, which had been part of the rescue mission but was hit and crashed over the Persian Gulf. The first signs of the F-15 had appeared on Iranian social media, fragments of the plane on the ground, including what appeared to be the crew's ejector seat. And to underscore the danger of these rescue operations, the Black Hawk helicopter that managed to pick up the fighter pilot was in turn hit by ground fire that injured some on board. This morning, one airman remains missing. Iranian television promised a reward to anyone who turned the American in alive. As you might expect, Iran is congratulating itself for downing these U.S. planes, but it's still taking a pounding from the air by the Israelis and the Americans. To add to the damage inflicted this week on infrastructure, including a bridge in northern Tehran, which Iran said killed 8 people, and the landmark Azadi Sports Complex in the capital, which is home to Iran's national soccer team.
The loss of the 2 aircraft certainly cast doubt on President Trump's statement last week that the Iranians had no anti-aircraft equipment left and that its radar was or had been annihilated. Kelly?
Elizabeth Palmer from Tel Aviv, thank you.
Let me show you something that makes me furious every time I see it.
And now listen to this. Okay, so this is a report from 24 minutes ago with Trump talking more trash. Okay, basically saying, hold on, we'll get to that in just a second. Trump is such an idiot. So the missing airman, a weapons systems officer, was aboard U.S. F-15 fighter jet that was downed in southern Iran. Now, a pilot who was also aboard has been rescued, according to U.S. media. Iran says the warplane was shot down by its air defense system, according to state media, and the U.S. Central Command has yet to comment. Iranian officials are urging citizens to find the missing crew alive and are offering a reward for their capture. Okay, so this is clearly not the same pilot that they said they had in custody. Now, with that being said, here's what Trump had to say. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump says Iran has 48 hours, okay, to make a deal or reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or all hell will rain down on them. Y'all hear it? Did y'all hear it? Trump is making more threats that nobody is worried about, okay? Please pay attention. And in fact, Iran was mocking the U.S. Let's go to the Post. They were literally mocking us. Here's what they said. Hold on just a second. Let me get this on the screen. They say, after defeating Iran 37 times in a row, this brilliant no-strategy war they started has now been downgraded from regime change to, hey, can anyone find our pilots, please? Do y'all hear this? They are clowning us, okay? They are clowning us thanks to Trump's ignorance. But pay attention. They said after defeating Iran 37 times. Yeah, because Trump has lied and said it at least 30 to 40 times. Oh, we've already won the war. Oh, they can't even fight back. There's not anybody even there to shoot at us. He's so ridiculous. And then the Iran embassy says the USA is just like ISIS, hitting World Heritage sites. It is barbarism of the Stone Age against civilization. Exactly. Because why are they? Now, mind you, Trump said himself that Iran is the one who is intentionally striking civilian areas, but no, they're not. And like I said, even when they have hit U.S. infrastructure where civilians are, they always warn them ahead of time so they could leave, evacuate. Okay, but Trump, the U.S., they've been given orders to strike universities. Okay, that's not what you do in a time of war. You're not supposed to hit educational facilities, hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, things like that. You're not supposed to be doing that. But, that's what Trump is doing, and he's bragging about it, committing war crimes. Please pay attention. Now, this is the U.S.'s response. Official statement from the Israeli military claimed they did not target cultural sites directly. Okay, the Pentagon has emphasized that operations such as Midnight Hammer were precise strikes designed to degrade military and nuclear infrastructure rather than harm civilians or cultural monuments. Please, they're over there destroying cultural monuments. They've hit at least 50 of them, and they're doing this on purpose. So let's not try to pretend that it's just some, accident. Now, the Iranian government says Iranian officials, including the heritage minister, have characterized the damage to over 50 sites as deliberate war on the country's identity. They argue that the scale of the destruction across multiple sites suggests more than accidental collateral. How do you accidentally hit 50 of these sites? Okay, absolutely on purpose. Absolutely on purpose. But also, let's talk about those UAEs, because now it's coming out that the United States has secretly been gathering or getting information and technology from aliens for the past 30 or 40 years. The government just admitted it to Congress. Former Pentagon officials testified that the U.S. has been secretly recovering UFO technology for decades. They said unknown crafts are actively monitoring our nuclear bases. Thousands of classified images exist that the public has never seen. And now the one general who knew where the bodies are buried comes up missing, has completely vanished. And y'all don't find that suspicious? And why are they telling us all of this? Why are they telling us all of this at this point in time? Okay, anyway, make it all make sense. Now let's go to this clip, this report where they're talking about Coverup. Lied about the casualties clearly. This came out 3 hours ago from Times Now World. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
American troops are taking hits, and the numbers may be far higher than officially reported. Allegations are now emerging of a Pentagon cover-up, hiding U.S. casualties in the ongoing Iran conflict. According to The Intercept, at least 750 U.S. service members have been killed or wounded since October 2023, far above public figures. Independent analysts warn this raises critical questions about transparency and accountability at the highest levels. The human cost is mounting. Recent Iranian strikes on bases across the Middle East, including Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, reportedly wounded at least 15 troops, a figure not reflected in CENTCOM updates. Officials and defense analysts warn that CENTCOM and the Pentagon are failing to provide timely, accurate casualty figures, leaving the public in the dark. Iranian missile and drone campaigns have destroyed a $300 million E-3 Sentry AWACS and damaged an ANTPY-2 radar system, key to long-range missile detection. Experts say the Pentagon failed to fully incorporate lessons from Ukraine, particularly on counter-drone warfare. This oversight, spanning 2 administrations, has left U.S. forces exposed to advanced, sustained attacks.
The failure of the Department of Defense to adequately incorporate the lessons of the war in Ukraine, as opposed to just studying them, particularly counter-drone warfare, is a bipartisan failing across 2 administrations.
Back in Washington, mounting casualties and the opacity surrounding them are creating political pressure. Analysts argue that Americans funding the war deserve transparency on troop safety and costs.
Okay, so we know they're not being transparent. We've known that from day one. And people are urging them to shut down all bases across the Middle East, hoping that that will save some of the soldiers. Now, with that all being said, I find it all very interesting. You know, at the end of the day, they're definitely not being transparent. And Trump is just telling one lie after the other. Okay? He's just telling one lie after the other. You can't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. Now, the Iran minister says that U.S. and Bibi's people belong to the Stone Ages after the Tehran University, after a Tehran University strike. This is from 4 hours ago. So let's go to this report. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
سلام.
دقیقا اینجا خوبه.
They belong to the Stone Age for attacking institutions of science. A civilized country, a civilized government never targets institutions of knowledge, laboratories, or research centers.
در جنگ 12 روزه
During the 12-day war, they first assassinated our professors, but they saw that assassinating professors did not achieve their goals. Now they have begun targeting and destroying scientific infrastructure. I have said before that destroying buildings does not destroy the structure of science in Iran. The structure of science in Iran is rooted deep in history.
در ایران نمی‌شود. ساختار علم در ایران ریشه در اعماق تاریخ داره. مطمئناً
They will certainly become disappointed and will fail in this objective. Scientific development in Iran will not stop. Iran's scientific capacity is limitless. It depends on its students, on Iranian talent, and on Iranian creativity and intelligence, which are inexhaustible.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next clip. Now, listen to this because there was a hit on a strike on the U.S. Embassy. Now, Iran is not taking any credit for this. They said that it absolutely was not them and that it was Bibi's people trying to blame it on them. Okay, now we know I showed you all the receipts where they do have a history of doing such things. Okay, specifically things that are considered to be by many false flags. Okay, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. This is the U.S. Embassy in the Saudi capital of Riyadh.
In the widening Middle East conflict, Iran's most powerful military wing issues a sharp denial and a direct accusation against Israel. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, has rejected any involvement in a reported attack on the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh. Interestingly, It has instead pointed the finger squarely at U.S. most trusted ally, Israel. This was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. In an official statement, the IRGC said the incident was absolutely unrelated to Iran's armed forces. They claimed that given Israel's regional strategy, the attack was certainly carried out by Israel. The statement goes further, warning countries across West Asia to remain vigilant against what it describes as an American-Israeli effort to destabilize the region. Iran has already defined its list of military targets and issued prior warnings to neighboring and Muslim countries. Iran has been calling these actions as provocative and destabilizing acts. These accusations come amid a rapidly escalating conflict that erupted after the assassination of Ali Khamenei. Khamenei was killed along with several senior commanders and civilians on February 28th. Since then, Iran has accused the United States and Israel of launching a large-scale military campaign. In response, Iranian forces say they have carried out waves of retaliatory strikes targeting American and Israeli positions across the region. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is reportedly growing increasingly frustrated with the United States over President Donald Trump's handling of the war with Iran. According to analysts and officials cited by Financial Times, the kingdom now has an utter sense of disappointment with Washington, reflecting unease over what is being seen as erratic decision-making and unpredictable messaging from the White House. At the heart of Saudi concerns are Trump's public threats to target Iranian energy infrastructure, including power plants, a move Gulf officials fear could trigger large-scale retaliation across the region. Diplomats from multiple Arab states reportedly reached out urgently to U.S. officials after such remarks, warning that an escalation at that level would unleash missile attacks that regional defenses may not be able to fully absorb. Riyadh's discomfort has also been compounded by Trump's suggestion that Gulf countries could be expected to bear the financial cost of the war, despite having little control over its trajectory. Analysts say this has reinforced a perception within Saudi leadership that the U.S. is treating regional partners as both stakeholders and paymasters.
Said they're treating them as paymasters without offering correspondence or treatment clarity or something. Now, listen, here is a report from CBS from 4 hours ago. Lawmakers react to White House's massive defense spending proposal. Okay, speaking of who's going to fund this war, because the Trump administration is clearly asking for more money. They're supposedly running out of munitions, which we've heard that for weeks, though Trump keeps denying it.
Asking Congress to approve more money for the escalating war in Iran. That could bring the U.S. military spending to the highest level in modern history. CBS congressional reporter Torian Small has more on how Washington is reacting to this ongoing conflict. Torian, good morning.
Good morning, Kelly. President Trump spent the day yesterday behind closed doors meeting with this national security team as the war in Iran intensifies. Well, days earlier, he had signaled the end could be near.
He's looking for a way out. Clearly, this war has not gone the way they thought.
Unimpressed Democrats on Capitol Hill are mounting pressure on the White House to wrap up the war with Iran, something President Trump signaled in a primetime address to the nation this week.
I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly.
The president again extended Friday's deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to Monday night as it continues to squeeze a choke point for the world's energy supply in retaliation for the U.S.'s attacks. On social media Friday, Trump floated the U.S. could reopen the strait with, quote, a little more time. Now a spending battle looms over Washington. The Trump administration sent next year's budget request to Congress, asking for $1.5 trillion for the Pentagon, a more than 40% increase from the current fiscal year, while seeking to cut non-defense spending by 10%.
Well, that's staggering.
Maryland Representative Jamie Raskin told CBS's Major Garrett that ask will be met with questions as Democrats have repeatedly tried and failed to rein in Trump's war powers.
I think that we're going to need to return to constitutional government, both in terms of congressional exercise of the war powers and in terms of congressional control over the purse.
Also skeptical, some Republicans. Senate Appropriations Chair Susan Collins of Maine, in a statement, said the request had, quote, several shortcomings and was concerned about including significant cuts to domestic spending, adding that, quote, while the administration proposes a budget, Congress holds the power of the purse.
Now, if approved, the money would be used to build 18 new Navy warships, Trump's Golden Dome, and allow for a pay raise for troops. The White House is also preparing to ask for Congress a supplemental spending package that could cover the costs of the conflict with Iran. Adriana?
Torian, thank you so much.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by...
Okay, now with that all being said, here's the thing. Some people are very upset. I'm going to go to what some people are saying on TikTok because some people are very upset about this whole war, as we know, and they're giving their thoughts. Also, I want to go to the CNN report about the pilot as well. But let's go to this guy who's complaining, that we're over there fighting a war for BB, and they get all this money, and we're over here struggling. Okay, that's what this man says. He's very upset about it. Please pay attention.
If you live in Israel and you're born in Israel, you get free health care, right? You get totally free health care. You get a stipend. You get a check of over $300,000 as soon as you turn 18. Right? You get a stipend. You get paid just to be Israeli. Right? Your housing is taken care of. Right? You don't have to pay for car insurance. Right? Everything is taken care of for you if you're born in Israel. Okay? But for some reason, even though Israel is such a rich little place, and they're so rich and they're doing so well that all their citizens have free health care and all of them get a nice bonus every time they turn 18. And they're just doing so great financially. Why is it that every year the American government steals money from the American people to send $4 billion to Israel? Why do they need the money? They already have all the things that the American people have been begging for years. We can't have that, but Israel can. And they take money from us to give to Israel while telling us that we can't have what they have, that we pay for. Welcome to the United States of Israel.
Okay, he said what he said. Now let's go to this next clip because we have another person complaining about the censorship. Okay, and how they're not being transparent about what exactly is going on. That's a concern for a lot of people.
I know just how bad our media is censoring what is going on here in the United States for hundreds of millions of people. I'll tell you, and this is going to be a huge theme on this page until I know otherwise proven. Here's the deal. It is Saturday, April 4th, 2026. Time check, 11:16 a.m. East Coast time as I'm making this video. There was a fighter jet that went down in Iran yesterday. Allegedly, one of the pilots was rescued by American military personnel. And still another is, quote, missing. There are other sources around the world saying that this pilot was captured. If you were listening to my video last night, you know that I have an ongoing experiment. I want to know at what date and time the American media says anything other than that second pilot is missing. My firm, wholehearted gut belief is that unfortunately that pilot is A, either no longer with us, or B, being held and tortured and used as a negotiation piece with the federal government. Donald Trump cannot allow his billionaire, gazillionaire friends who own all of the media, there are 7 conglomerates here in the United States, to release that story because it completely blows his script out of the water that we are somehow winning this war, that we are undefeatable, that we can, quote, bomb Iran back to the Stone Age. This is media censorship on full display. It is something I studied in grad school, and I am so incredibly upset about our rights truly being stripped of us. We are in the dark. So that's all I have to say. That pilot is either no longer with us or they're captured. And our
Whatever has happened to that pilot, I assure you that is Trump's fault. Now, here's the thing, because I was getting confused because yesterday they said that the Iranian news said that they confirmed that the person was being held as a hostage. Then today they say they're reporting that they've asked citizens to help find the pilot. So I was thinking, is there another pilot that went down? But no, so here's the thing. It says conflicting reports. Now, while some Iranian media suggested a capture, official Iranian local media reported on April the 4th that officials with Kageluya, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and Boyer Ahmad province denied that the second pilot had been found or arrested. So they're saying that they don't have a pilot in custody. Okay, they say, however, the situation is developing in both Iranian and American forces have been searching the area for the missing airman. Okay, so with that all being said, we'll see how it all turns out. I hope that he's found safely, but you know that may not be the case. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now let's go to this next clip. You know, I always like to hear what the citizens are saying, except for MAGA. I don't really care what they have to say because it usually has not a bit of logic. It's just delusional, asinine, ridiculous rhetoric spewed by people with empty heads. Okay.
The American government has contacted Iran and asking them for a 48-hour ceasefire while they try to search for the missing pilot of the plane that was shot down over Iran. And Iran has told them, hell no, no ceasefire. Iran has offered a cash reward for that pilot captured alive, which is equivalent to 66,000 American dollars or 50,000 pounds. What do you guys think about this? They're not giving up a ceasefire. They have sealed off a very, very, very large area and sent their own search and rescue trying to find the missing pilot alive. Again, they have offered a cash reward for the capture of this pilot alive. It's about to get bad, guys. If they capture that pilot, shit's going to hit the fan. Let me know what you think in the comments. The American government has contacted Iran.
Well, you know, like I said, we don't have a whole lot of answers as of yet, but we'll have to see how it all turns out. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now I want to go to this report. Hold on, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here we go. Let's go to this report from CNN. This is another report. RG Times said the Iranians have most likely snatched that pilot up. Well, they say they haven't. You know, so far they've been doing what they said.
It's not as simple as fly a helicopter in, get on the radio, talk to the pilot. Where are you? It's not like TV where they just throw a smoke grenade and the helicopter lands and that's the end of the show. It's much more complex. It's very dangerous. My team and I, we just completed our 810th mission. We do ops all over the world, operations exactly like this, and they're all dangerous. The biggest issue right now is speed. This downed airman, which male or female, has been on the run now for a day and a half. And that doesn't sound like a long time, but that is a very long time when being actively pursued behind enemy lines, in the mountains, limited communications, and also possibly injured. So speed is the big one, because the Iranian forces are actively pursuing him or her, because the locals are actively pursuing him or her. They have limited food, they have limited water. It's very hard to sustain and hide indefinitely. So I would say that time is actually becoming the biggest problem. Rescues are not war zone.
Okay, so likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now let's go to this. Hold on. Let's go to another video where we can hear what the public has to say. Also, hold on. I forgot to let you all know that there's another video that they put out, and this time they're talking about Keg's bread specifically. So we're going to go to that in just a second also. Okay, I almost forgot to tell you all that. I actually saw this video yesterday, and I forgot to upload it.
Planes got shot down over Iran. And I need you to remember something. Trump said 2 days ago that they have no anti-aircraft equipment, their radars 100% annihilated, and that we are unstoppable as a military force. So let's start with the F-15 fighter jet that was shot down over Iran by Iranian forces. One pilot was rescued, the other one is still missing, and American forces are out there right now in hostile territory trying to find them. But it didn't just stop there, because an A-10 Warthog, one of the most battle-hardened attack planes we have, was sent in as part of the search and rescue mission, and it got hit as well. The pilot had to eject over the Persian Gulf. He was recovered, but the plane, well, it's gone. And then 2 search and rescue helicopters were also hit, shot by Iranian fire before making it back to base with injured crews. So that's 2 planes down, 2 helicopters hit, and 1 American airman still unaccounted for on Iranian soil. Now let's talk about the lies, because that's what they are. Trump and Pete Hegseth have spent weeks telling the American people that the U.S. and Israel had something close to free reign over Iranian skies. They said Iran had no ability to fight back. Then 2 days ago, Trump got on national television and said, and I'm not paraphrasing here, that they have no anti-aircraft equipment, their radars 100% annihilated, that we are unstoppable. Well, guess what? Because internal U.S. intelligence assessments were already showing that Iran had still roughly half of its missile launchers intact. They just kept lying to our faces anyway. And where's Pete Hegseth in all of this? The guy who sold you uncontested airspace is the same guy who just fired the Army's chief of staff in the middle of the war. The same guy, a retired 3-star general, is calling out publicly, saying that Hegseth's rhetoric is reckless and outrageous, and warned it may be what gets these pilots tortured or killed. These wannabe tough guys are getting our men and women killed. Sound off in the comments. I want to.
Yeah, that's absolutely what they're doing. Okay, that's absolutely what they're doing. And he said, want to be tough guys. Listen, you can just listen to the tone and the rhetoric that Trump and Keg's breath both spew. They are so desperately trying to talk tough, as if their rhetoric scares anyone. They sound ridiculous.
We have some major news. We just learned that half of Iran's missile launchers and thousands of one-way attack drones remain in their arsenal, despite Donald Trump claiming that their military has virtually been obliterated. This is according to brand new U.S. intelligence. As reported by CNN, thousands of Iranian drones still exist, roughly 50% of the country's drone capabilities, 2 of the sources said. The intelligence indicated. The intel compiled in recent days also showed a large percentage of Iran's coastal defense cruise missiles were intact, the source said. Those missiles serve as a key capability, allowing Iran to threaten shipping traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. One of the sources said they are still very much poised to wreak havoc across the entire region, and this comes as Donald Trump says that they've been obliterated, but these sources are painting a much different picture. Donald Trump has lied consistently about this war, saying that everything has been destroyed, we are winning 100%, but the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. Our bases are still being struck by Iran. Our allies are still being struck by Iran as well. And now this intel paints a completely different picture. A good rule of thumb with Donald Trump when it comes to this war is just don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth, because it's probably not true.
Okay, no lies detected, because anything that Trump says should be deemed as, we should believe the opposite, basically. Okay, so listen to this guy here going off. Now, this dude is not talking about the war. He's talking about them supposedly going back to the moon. Okay, they're supposed to be going around the moon, not to it, literally, but around the moon. Now, I thought his video was hilarious.
Up this morning to the news of 4 astronauts jetting off into space, just like they did in the 60s, but they're not going to land on the moon this time. Oh no, they're just going round it. All the while there's a fucking fuel crisis going on, and I'm limited to how much diesel I put in my fucking car. Well, I tell you what, Artemis Prime, you can ram your rocket where the fucking sun don't shine, and if you want to know where that is, it's just behind the moon where you're supposedly going. A load of fucking shit. I can't even pick up a 5G signal when I'm in the bakery section in Lidl looking for my favourite glazed ring. Why don't you go and spend some money on the potholes and stop flying around the fucking moon? Who do you think you are? Elton John? Arseholes. Rocket Man, my arse. I said it.
Goodness, that was hilarious. He said he woke up this morning to them talking about they're going to be flying around the moon, not going to it, but around it. And who the F do they think they are? Elton John? Because doesn't he have a song called Rocket Man? Anyway, Measure Man says the Epstein files are not on the moon or around the moon. The F? Okay. Exactly. They're trying so desperately to distract us. All right. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. I am so done. Not flying around the moon, and for what?
Gains mean a long-term consequence for the rest of America, and they're tired of it. You even have two former MAGA influencers coming on and crying on camera about how Trump changed and they don't believe him anymore. And the same way Donald Trump is bombing Iran because they refused to sign the contract he wanted them to be forced to sign because he violated the previous contract, he now cuts off all trade with Spain for not agreeing to his 5% increase with no return for them. All of this does is expose Donald Trump because these people are out of lies and they're feeling the pressure. And what he exposed here was that this is all about power and control, because what else can you give a billionaire? This is how the Epstein class started and began, all about power and control. However, that is all failing now as the tides turn against the entire Epstein class and Trump administration, as Marco Rubio got caught lying just the next day because he let it slip that we actually bombed Iran because Israel was threatening to nuke them. So when a reporter asked him that question about it, he said, "No, that's not what I said. Were you even there?" The reporter said, "Yes, I was there. I was the one who asked you the previous question and that was your answer." This is why MAGA is no longer believing Trump and they're no longer voting Republican. Let's take a look at this clip.
Yesterday, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran and that's why we needed to get involved. Today, the president said that Iran was going to get.
Yeah, your statement is false. So that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked
okay.
question.
Wait a minute. There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. No, were you the one that? Because somebody asked me a question and said, "Did we go in because of Israel?" And I said, "You were asking me that. You from that follow-up?" And I said, "No. I told you this had to happen anyway." The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program. That Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation.
Scrambling, hesitating, stuttering, looking for any desperate response that can make sense, but it simply falls flat because it doesn't make sense. He said it himself, Israel was going to attack Iran, so we had to step in. That completely goes against the defense narrative that Iran attacked first, or suddenly had weapons of mass destruction, which nobody spoke about until this happened. They cannot cover up the lies anymore because even these reporters are pushing back against these lies. And you even had Schumer leak that Israel was going to nuke Iran because he says right here in this clip, nobody wants a nuclear Israel. And a reporter said Israel was going to nuke Iran. He said, that's not what I said, but it was what he said. And then he tried to fix it. They are out of lies. The Trump administration is coming to an end. Let's take a look at this clip.
Do you think Israel, forced the U.S.'s hand here, boxed the U.S. in on this?
Look, no one wants a nuclear war. No one wants a nuclear Israel, but we certainly don't want an endless war, plain and simple. What did I say? Oh, no. Got it. Let me say that again. No one wants an endless war, but we certainly don't want a nuclear Iran. That's for sure. Okay?
Talk about a Freudian slip. So tell us exactly.
Okay, so there's 3 Trump officials that have now mentioned Israel nuking Iran. Okay, I want you all to pay attention, and let's not forget that I told you all about their Samson option. That's their doctrine. If they're losing, then they want to nuke people. Okay, that's what it says. All right, and so anyway, honey, just the lies continue. Let's go to this next clip where this woman also accuses their administration of being a bunch of liars.
The president is either lying to the American public about the Iran war or he's being lied to by his generals and cabinet about the progress of the war. I think probably both are true, because when the president gets on national television and tells the American public and the entire world that Iran's drone and missile launching capabilities have been severely curtailed, and then Iran responds by continuing to lob missiles and drones at Gulf states and possibly taking down an American fighter jet, And there's a report that comes out that according to U.S. intelligence, Iran still retains over half of its missile launching capabilities and drones. And that's thousands of drones. It seems like that doesn't line up. I think he's purposely lying because the American public doesn't have much appetite for war, and he's hoping that they'll stop paying attention. But I also think that he's not completely aware of what's going on. We see reports that the president gets a 2 to 3 minute sizzle reel of how successful the United States is every morning. Now he wants a $1.5 trillion defense budget.
Yep, he sure does. Okay. I'm so glad that people are catching on to these lies, all right? That more people are starting to realize that he's just been telling all these lies. Because a lot of these MAGA minions, honey, they're just never going to wake up.
Now that it has been confirmed that Iran's air defense missiles took down 2 American pilots, Donald Trump's narrative that he destroyed Iran's air defenses.
Taking out their air forces, taking out their navy, taking out their air defense, and there's no air defense whatsoever.
Is falling apart.
But in the interim, what we can tell you definitively is that this video does conclusively show that the claim made by the U.S. president that Iran's air defenses and air capabilities had been destroyed is not true, given the fact that Iran is claiming that it has shot down U.S. military aircraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Trump administration is actively involved in a massive cover-up. Definitely covering up the number.
Okay, I'm sorry, beloveds. My apologies. I didn't mean to click off of that before you all finished watching it. Okay, I'm sending stuff to my email. Hold on, let me pull it back up. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Anonymous says, no more Satan Yahoo. Exactly. Okay, let me just go back.
That have occurred so far in this war. But the fact is, Donald Trump is not winning this war at all. All right. He has not destroyed all of Iran's missiles. He has not destroyed their air defense system. As a matter of fact, Iran is actually the one winning. And it's because they've had years and years of practice to prepare for this moment. Yeah, they're using infrared technology to take down American jets. So all this nonsense that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth keep talking about, it's all make believe. The United States of America has bitten off more than it can chew, and we are being led by the most dangerous and incompetent president ever in American history. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you do something to help stop this war. Get out there and vote blue like your life depends on it so that we can rid ourselves of this evil and corrupt regime that we all know only started a war to hide what Donald Trump was doing in the Epstein files.
Absolutely a darn disgrace. Okay, and that's exactly what it is. This is, in fact, the Epstein war. Now, let's go to this clip where this news reporter from MS Now says the White House accidentally released a video of Trump saying the truth about the war's priority. It's just all nefarious. At the end of the day,
I want to note that the only reason we have it is because the White House seemingly accidentally posted a live stream of it, which they then tried to delete, but not before the internet saved it for posterity. And just for context, Donald Trump starts by referring to the head of the Office of Management and Budget, the Christian nationalist author of Project 2025, Russell Vought.
We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it, too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. We have to take care of one thing, military protection. We have to guard the country.
All right. All these little scams that have taken place, like that little scam daycare. Joining me now is Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen, member of the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, good to see you. Thank you for being with us. Let me throw some numbers out at you. Apparently, the Penn-Wharton budget model says this war has cost $65 billion so far. The White House is asking for $200 billion for it. The Tomahawk missiles alone are $3 billion. They take a year to two to build per missile. We've spent $3 billion on them. This is in a country where we had Doge ripping apart the government last year. We had people not getting their food stamps. We have people not getting their Obamacare subsidies. But we're spending somewhere between $65 billion and $200 billion on a war that no one is able to explain.
Well, Ali, that's right. And we should all remember that during the campaign, candidate Donald Trump promised that he would keep us out of foreign wars and focus instead on trying to make things better right here at home. Instead, he is, along with Prime Minister Netanyahu, started a foreign war. Prices are going up. And now he says, well, we've got to pay for this war in Iran by cutting back on federal investments. You played the clip with childcare, but there are also other points in that speech where he talks about cutting Medicaid, cutting Medicare. So the bottom line is the president who said he wouldn't start a war now wants to pay for it by cutting deeply into American healthcare programs and other programs that help American families here at home.
But that's not that surprising, is it, Senator? I mean, you go back to the history of wars that America has started. One group tends to benefit from this very well, either oil producers or munitions makers. I mean, that's the nature of the game. It becomes too much money that we have to pay for a war, so you're going to have to cut it from the people who can least afford it.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, you've got defense contractors who are going to be raking it in, and other folks who are close to the president are going to be raking it in. But the American people will suffer. And of course, this comes on top of what Donald Trump and Republicans in Washington did last year, right? They passed their so-called big, beautiful bill, which was beautiful if you're a billionaire. You got really big tax cuts. But to partially pay for that, they cut Medicaid, they cut food nutrition programs. So now comes this year, and Donald Trump goes off and starts a war and says, well, we're going to have to cut back on Medicare. We're going to have to cut back on Medicaid. We're going to have to cut back on our efforts to make childcare more affordable. So at the end of the day, he is screwing the American people and doing exactly what he said he was going to avoid. He said he was going to focus on things here at home, keep us out of foreign wars. He's done exactly the opposite.
I was talking to Ben Rhodes about this a minute ago. I want to play it for you, something that he said about gas prices in the Oval Office. Let's listen.
Gas prices, today they hit $4.
We're $4, yeah, and we have a country that's not going to be throwing a nuclear weapon at us in 6 months.
But Americans are feeling the effects in the interim.
And they're also feeling a lot safer.
What is the plan to bring them back down?
All I have to do is leave Iran, and we'll be doing that very soon, and they'll become tumbling down.
We're not going to have a country that's going to be throwing a nuclear weapon at us in 6 months. That's just nonsensical talk. There's no. I mean, you know these things. You're on serious committees in the Senate. There was no discussion about Iran throwing a nuclear weapon at America in 6 months or 6 years.
It was a complete and total lie, Ali. And the president himself, told the country last year that he had
obliterated it.
Iran's nuclear enrichment program, obliterated it. And then his DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, testified publicly the other day that Iran has made no effort to try to reconstitute that nuclear enrichment program. And so that was just a complete and total lie. And as you and Ben Rhodes discussed, I mean, they're nowhere near any kind of ballistic missile that can reach the United States. So this was all a fabrication by the president of the United States to try to justify his actions while Americans are hurting here at home. We've lost 13 of our service members, hundreds wounded. As you discussed, thousands of civilians killed in the region. And we're paying $2 billion a day, we, the American taxpayers, while gas prices are going up. And now Donald Trump says, well, we've got to cut back on other investments that are important to the American people. This war should never have started. We should end it now. Donald Trump is talking about asking for another $200 billion. And I can tell you, Ali, I won't vote for one more dime for this illegal war of choice.
Okay, absolutely not. Ashkan says Samson is pointed at U.S. Believe that. I absolutely do believe it. And here's the thing. I have said previously that I absolutely feel that if the U.S. didn't do what Bibi wants him to do, that he would take us up out of here. That's what I think. I absolutely believe it. Okay, Trump's a whole idiot to even be in bed with him and doing what this man says. For 40 years, he's been waiting, and no president has been stupid enough to fall for the BS other than Trump. Okay, that's why he keeps changing the narrative of why this war got started in the first place. But pay attention, because they inadvertently tell of themselves, just like that guy made the Freudian slip. Okay, you can sit there and try to tell all the lies you want, but sometimes God will make the truth spill from your lips, okay, and expose you.
I have some major news right now. Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth lied to the American public. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, claimed that the United States had complete air superiority over large parts of Iran, that they could do whatever, whenever, however they want. Donald Trump said that Iran's military was completely decimated. Air Force, Navy, decimated. Well, tonight, Americans and Iranians are searching for an American service member who had to eject from an F-15 fighter jet over southern Iran.
Okay, we've already heard that story enough. Babe Rack says, nope, Bibi's people can't and won't do ish to the U.S. We give them all that money and support. Well, see, that's not going to benefit them, beloved, when they're facing obliteration or when they think that they're losing the war. Okay, they've already said that. That's in their doctrine, the Samson option. Okay, so if they're facing ruin or they think they're just fighting a war that they're absolutely not going to win, they reserve that option. You think they're caring about money at that point? They're absolutely not. So they are absolutely the threat, not Iran. They are the threat. Okay, and they have been allowed to have this whole doctrine, and it's just amazing that nobody seems to complain or say anything about it in Congress. Okay, make that make sense. Another thing I wanted to point out is in that news clip that we just watched when they were talking about things that Trump is going to cut back on so they'll have more money for this nefarious illegal war. You know, it's just interesting that they want our soldiers to go over there and fight and die, risking their lives and possible lifelong injuries, being put on a disability list and all of that. But the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, they have been facing significant criticism for years, okay, because they fail to adequately support veterans' their mental health. A lot of them go over there and they fight these wars and they're traumatized. They see their comrades being killed. They see all sort of things that sticks in their memory, but they don't have a good healthcare system over here to provide mental health for them. Okay. They also have staffing shortages, long waits and lines and bureaucratic hurdles, not to mention. Okay. So with that all being said, and here's the thing. I told you all numerous of times that I actually help veterans to fill out their paperwork so they can get their full disability. And how many times have I had to, send more information to get turned down, or you have to redo the paperwork or whatever? They just send them through so much red tape in most cases. It's just ridiculous. Now, they say despite offering specialized services, over 500 psychologists and psychiatrists left the VA recently, with many veterans facing severe service interruptions and reduced access to care. Okay, they have staffing shortages and the turnover rate is extreme. So, like I said, Trump wants to take money from the healthcare industry, from Medicaid and Medicare, from daycares, things that the American citizens need, just so he can have a war at the behest of Netanyahu. Okay, because they already told us what it was. So please pay attention. Now let's go to this next clip. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Trump went on national television and told everyone that Iran was obliterated, right? Decimated. Their ability to launch drones and missiles was dramatically curtailed, and that there were very few launchers left. His words. Exactly. But then U.S. intelligence put out their own assessment after 5 weeks of daily strikes, after over 12,000 targets hit inside Iran. And do you know what they found? That roughly half of Iran's missile launchers are still intact, and thousands of one-way attack drones are still sitting in their arsenal ready to go. Now, here what's happening, and it's actually fascinating. Iran has spent years hiding their launchers inside underground tunnel networks, deep, and they move them constantly on mobile platforms. So even when you think you've destroyed something, you might just have an empty location. The US has the exact same problem with the Houthis in Yemen, and after years, it still hasn't fully solved it. And Iran watched that and built their entire strategy around it. So when the White House comes out and says that Iranian attacks are down 90%, what they're not telling you is that Iran still has that capability. They're just choosing when to use it. That's not the same as being defeated. That's called strategy. Trump projected ending this war in 2 to 3 weeks. People inside his own government describe that timeline as unrealistic, given what Iran still has left. Intelligence his own administration produced directly contradicts what he said on television. That's not an opinion. That's just the gap between what's being said publicly and what's.
There's so much of the lies, okay? Just so much of the lies. So Measurement says veterans now have to reapply yearly for disability, and he just eliminated the home loan program and stipulations to GI Bill. That's not true. They don't have to reapply yearly. Okay, they don't have to reapply yearly, beloved. Once they reapply, they get to keep their disability benefits coming permanently unless their condition changes. Now, if their condition gets better, then they may be taken off, or there'll be some adjustments made or whatever. But right now, they don't have to reapply yearly. Trust me, I know, because I helped them apply. And if they had to do it yearly, okay, you know how annoying that would become. Yeah, he has put some stipulations on the GI Bill. Okay, so thank you for that information, beloved. I appreciate you. Thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now let's go to this clip with Robert De Niro. This is Robert De Niro's voice. Basically going in on Trump. Hold on. Measurement says, I got my letter to reapply yearly. I don't know why you got that letter, beloved. There must be something specifically going on with your case, but I promise you that's not the case for everybody. Okay, so now let me share my screen. Oh, there we go. Okay, likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
I mean, he's so blatant. I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con, a bullshit artist. I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con.
No lies detected. I know that's Robert De Niro's voice, okay? So with that all been said, hold on, Measure Man. Let's look into it. Hold on, Measure Man. Let's look into it. Let me type this in. Do U.S. veterans, because you should be asking them why you have to reapply every year. Why would they send you that letter? Do U.S. veterans have to reapply yearly for disability benefits? Okay, hold on. Let me put this on the screen. Because that's ridiculous. Why would you? I don't understand why they would make you do that. Okay, so I just Googled it. It says no. I typed in, do U.S. veterans have to reapply yearly for disability benefits? No, U.S. veterans do not have to reapply yearly for VA disability benefits. Once approved, veterans are generally paid for life, provided the condition does not improve. However, the VA may schedule reevaluations for non-permanent conditions, typically 2 to 5 years, if the disability is expected to improve. Yeah, see, that's, like I said, I do this paperwork all the time, so I know that's not supposed to be the case. You really need to keep trying to, you said you tried to find out, but there's no response. Yeah, you definitely need to keep looking into that, because that sounds crazy. Okay, but nonetheless, now we're about to be out of here, beloveds. We're about to be out of here. Hold on, let me make sure there's nothing I missed. Oh, let's go to this video that I meant to show you all on yesterday, where the streets over there with BB's people, the streets are flooded. The streets flooded due to a strike from Iran. Okay, here we go. Take a look. They have no one to blame for that but Bibi, as far as I'm concerned. Also, they talk about younger Republicans, how they don't support the war. So let's go to this clip from PBS. This came out yesterday. What young Republicans are saying about Trump's handling of the Iran war. Oh, you know what? Before we go to that, let's play this video. Well, you know what? I'll play the song at the end. That's what I'll do. I'll play the new video where they're going in on Pete Cake's breath at the end of the broadcast. That's what I'll do. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share.
The U.S. and Israeli war with Iran has caused a rare rift among conservatives, with several influential figures on the right condemning the war in its early days. A recent Pew Research Center poll shows that while most Republicans do support the war, young Republicans appear to be an outlier. Only 49% of those under the age of 30 say they approve of the way that President Trump has handled the conflict. Turning Point USA, the organization founded by the late activist Charlie Kirk, has been key in organizing young conservatives, especially at their signature campus rallies. Our White House correspondent Liz Landers spoke to some of them at one such event right here in Washington last night. So Liz, tell us about the event, who you talked to, and what they had to say.
This was at George Washington University's campus, which is right here in the heart of Washington. This event was a conversation between Erica Kirk and White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt there. TPUSA has become a particularly powerful organizing tool for conservatives and the Republican Party. They have more than 3,500 university campus chapters and more than 300 staffers. So we asked attendees who were in line waiting for the event what they thought about 1 month into this conflict, this war with Iran. As you might expect, several had the president's back.
I would say I confidently trust the president to handle his agenda and to handle any foreign policy affairs.
But others expressed opposition or even uncertainty.
You don't want them to have immense power that's going to hurt other people, but the way that it went about may not have been the right way of doing it. So I was very conflicted on, I guess, the means of participation that we've taken part in.
I aspire to join the Marines myself, and I think it's very good to serve your country. But I don't see this war as serving America's interests, certainly not its economic interests, political interests, social interests.
We need to focus more on the United States first. I think there's a lot of problems that could be solved in the United States before going into foreign conflict. To be honest, I think this was more Israel's fight than the United States.
That last student there, Nassim, he's Iranian American. So he said that this is a complex issue for him. He has complicated feelings about it. But he said that he thought it was good that the Ayatollah was killed. And he said that his family also felt like they had, there was no tears, as he put it, that the Ayatollah had been killed at the beginning of this conflict. But as you heard him say there, he also wants the focus to be back on domestic issues in the U.S. I asked him if this conflict, this war, was going to impact his vote come November. He said probably not, that it's other issues that are going to more personally impact him that he's focused on.
That's interesting. With this being right there in the heart of the GW campus, I know you spoke to other students who weren't there for the event, but who also said that they opposed the war. What did you hear from them?
We walked by two young women who were milling about, walking around on campus in between classes, and they said that they were both unhappy that TPUSA was there and also were in opposition to this conflict with Iran. Take a listen to what Gabby told us.
We're committing war crimes, and it's being used, our dollars that we don't have. We're both full Pell Grant students who are here completely on financial aid. She doesn't have any right now. Mine is being cut. I'm deeply ashamed right now to be an American.
Gabby said that she watched President Trump's speech on Wednesday night, and she said that she was particularly offended by the phrase that he used, that he was going to bomb Iran back to the Stone Ages. She said that she thought that that was appalling.
Well, as you know, U.S. viewpoints on the Middle East have changed a lot over the years. Polls have shown young Democrats are increasingly less sympathetic towards Israel, but they're also starting to show a similar trend among young Republicans. What have you found out about that when you talk to experts?
We spoke with Shibli Telhami. He's a professor at the University of Maryland, and he also has been tracking and polling these issues with young voters for years now. He points to the war in Gaza in 2023 as a real important timestamp for when these shifting views on Israel started to come to more of the forefront, especially with Democrats and also these young Republicans. Listen to what he told us.
We've seen the gap between younger and older Republicans became huge, particularly in terms of justifying what Israel was doing in Gaza. And that has increased of late, particularly with regard to the Iran war, in large part because many of the podcasters and the commentary on the right, particularly the America First movement, have been highlighting the link between the Israeli aim to have war with Iran and the causes for the war, the U.S. going to war.
He attributes these shifts in attitudes for young Republicans in particular to two different things. He says, first of all, it's about the anger of the United States supporting Israel in that Gaza conflict starting several years back that started during the Biden years, honestly. Mm-hmm. Secondly, he says that the America First platform, and you heard him talk a little bit about that at the end there, that Trump ran on promoting domestic issues here in the United States and no more foreign war intervention. And that was something that we heard from young people across the political spectrum yesterday, that they believed that Trump had broken that promise, that he would not get the United States involved in any more foreign wars.
Such an interesting look at how young voters are looking at this war. White House correspondent Liz Landers, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so with that all been said, listen, I'm about to conclude the broadcast, but before I do, I just wanted to show you all something funny that I thought was very interesting. Now, you all remember a month or so ago when I did the video broadcast about Mr. Tendernism. If you all remember the guy making all of the barbecue for the Destination Smokehouse, and how they tried to steal his trademark or tried to steal his catchphrase and trademark it. And so now he's out on his own, right? But here's what I find interesting. Now this restaurant has completely gone downhill because people who look like me are no longer supporting them. And the reason being is because he tried to steal that man's catchphrase after Mr. Tenderism, basically, or Tendernism, is the one who helped him to get his business off the ground. He was he was losing money. So anyway, here's what's happened now. So now I find it interesting. If you remember, all of the videos that they were showing promoting the restaurant and the food, they were showing the meat falling off of the bone, right? So let's go to the footage. But now the owner says you don't want the meat to actually fall off the bone. Now he's saying you don't want your meat to fall off the bone. You know why he's changed his tune? Because now that Mr. Tendernism is no longer there, they don't have anyone to cook it so that it falls off the bone. I mean, that's just my opinion. Okay, so now he's discouraging you from wanting that. Please pay attention. Let's go to this clip of the meat falling off the bone when Mr. Tendernism was there.
I want to make sure y'all see the clarity on it. Look, I told you, destination, one in the nation, that what we do down here, I was trying to show y'all something. I couldn't even show it. So I'm going to try it this way.
I'm sorry. Anyone who eats barbecue clearly does want it to fall off of the bone. Now, watch this. This is their new advertisement. Please pay attention. This is how you know. This is how you know they're down bad. This is so sad. This is so sad. And the MAGA people who support the restaurant are upset with Black people, saying that it's our fault that they went downhill on a steady ride.
You don't want it to fall off the bone. You don't really want a pulled pork bite of this. You want to taste something where there's more pork flavor, more integrity left in the meat. But look at that bark. Look at that shine and glisten. Let me take a bite. And that's what we call a perfect bite through. See how there's no meat left on the bone where I bit? but it's still hanging on. But look at this. See how clean that is? You don't want it to fall off the bone.
Did y'all see that? He had to peel it off the bone. He said, see how there's no more meat. He said, see how there's no more meat where I bit. Sir, you bit all of the meat off in that spot. What is he even talking about? Okay, Love Chrissy said that rib was dry. It certainly was, honey. I don't know what he's talking about, but like I said, some of the MAGA minions are mad at black folk and saying that this is all our fault. Okay, please pay attention. This is all crazy. Hold on. I have never heard of such foolishness. Hold on, let me go to one more clip with Mr. Tenderism. I'm going to put an overlay because this is TMZ. This is a TMZ clip.
Destination Smokehouse.
No, I'm not. I'm not at Destination Smokehouse. I'm with Tenderism now.
So that was Walter Johnson officially announcing his exit from Destination Smokehouse after reportedly being fired from the California barbecue restaurant that gained major attention once he went viral for hyping up their fall off the bone ribs and shouting his signature line, "That's Tenderism," which helped drive tons of foot traffic to the restaurant.
Oh, I forgot I was muted. Okay, so he basically made that restaurant what it was. And the nerve of them to try to steal his catchphrase and trademark it and then kick him out of there after all he did for them. That's why they're going down. Okay, that's why black people are mad. Now, this woman wants to paint the narrative that black people stopped supporting the restaurant because we found out that it wasn't owned by a black person. That had nothing to do with it because black people were still supported even after they found out who the owner was, that he was an Albanian. They were still supported. It was only after he did Mr. Tenderism dirty that people stopped supporting. But let's let Karen cook because she's clearly pressed.
And I want you to know everything that happened with Mr. Tenderism in the Destination Barbecue is 100% your fault. Everything was fine until the black folk found out that he didn't own that barbecue restaurant and he had a white slave master.
Move, y'all. I got it. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Alicia and I'm finna cook you. Now, I am a little confused as to why you're making it seem like Unc leaving that business was some sort of terrible decision, but don't worry. Let's go through the evidence. Let's start from the beginning. Number one, isn't discernment such a gift? Because the internet looked at the situation with Unc and the owner and clocked it almost immediately. Unc was the face of the business. Influencers, celebrities, everybody was pulling up specifically to get a video with Unc, watch him throw the glasses off and say, and keep it pushing. It became a viral trend. He made the business go viral, but people also began to correctly point out that Unc was helping the business grow seemingly without the benefits of owning the business and without the money that comes with a thriving restaurant that has lines wrapped around the block 2-3 times. And that became abundantly clear because we later found out that the phrase Tenderism got trademarked, but it wasn't trademarked by Unc, even though that is literally his catchphrase. And that's a problem. So when the Keith Lee situation blew up, all it really did was expose and confirm what people already suspected. And they eventually parted ways. Now, the owner says that Unc was not asked to leave, but Unc said on his GoFundMe that he was fired. And I personally have no reason to believe that Unc would lie about something like that. I believe him when he says that he was fired. But here's the thing about life. When one door closes, another door opens. Amen. Because when Unc left, he started his own business. He's still going viral, but now it's on his own terms. He's going on tour. He catered for the Ron Isley. He was featured this week on the Sherry Shepherd Show, and he posted a video with the lawyer who filed the trademark for Tenderism, and that lawyer said he's going to give that trademark to Unc, so Unc will now be the owner of the phrase Tenderism. Isn't that amazing? The blessings have just been raining down upon Unc ever since he left that other barbecue restaurant. So from where I'm sitting, Unc seems to be doing just fine. So let's go back to your original question.
Mr. Tenderism, y'all got under his skin. He thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get my own. I'm gonna go do my own. Let's see if y'all fucking support him now.
To me, I feel like you were trying to sneak this and say, oh, nobody would support Unc if he left the restaurant. But from where I'm sitting, it seems like Unc is doing just fine.
Okay, what a hater. Okay, and so I was laughing because Ashkan said, no, you found out it was now bite through. No longer fall off the bone, okay? I mean, that was hilarious. He sat there and bit through it. See how there's no more meat left where I bit? Sir, should there be any meat left? That's all crazy. Please make it all make sense. Okay, and Unc is still being supported. Okay, he's got his own business now. The bottom line is, it's a good thing that that attorney went and trademarked it to give to Unc, because the owner of Destination Smokehouse applied for the trademark, but that's the only reason he probably didn't get it. It's because the attorney had applied first. Okay, so talk about backstabbing, and then fired him. All right, and then lied and said, "Oh no, we didn't tell Unc to leave. Of course you did." Okay, anyway, he's on to bigger and better things. Okay, see, you don't win when you cheat. Okay, you don't win when you play dirty. Okay, Trump, Satan, Yahoo, that applies to the both of you as well. Okay, so now I'm about to get out of here. But before I do, let's listen to the new song that Iran did specifically for Pete Breath. Okay, and then we're going to go out of here with the loser.
Yo, Pete Hexeth, this one's specially for you. You punk-ass rapist, bitch. Straight from Iran. Tattoo covered clown with that cafe ink on your arm. Think you a crusader? Nah, just a drunk infidel in a fake uniform. Chain to kill all Muslims. Wasted in a hotel lobby. Sexual assault settlement in Monterey. Blocked the door, took a phone, paid her off quiet, cause Me Too was on. Now you secretary? What a joke, bro. Cheated on wives, multiple affairs, kids in the mix, family man, hell no. Handsy with women at Fox, drunk on the job, your own team say, yo, this dude toxic. Couldn't even guard Biden's inauguration, your own military said, next. Book called American Crusade, dreaming holy war, but reality check. You just a failed vet, turned TV clown, slipping on your own mess. Trump picked you cause you kissed the ring, but wait, funny part ain't coming. The dude you sucking up for that secretary gig, Trump himself was Bill Clinton's top cocksucker, giving blue jobs back in the day. Real talk, you out here blowing for access, but he the original BJ queen. You thought our missiles max 2,000 kilometers? Cute, rookie mistake. We hitting the bow, worshiping Epstein Island crew, the ones who hurt the kids. Revenge for every American soul, you and Trump's dirty crew oppressed and did. We taking payback for the girls, you broke the wives, you broke the Muslims you hate. Every victim screaming in the dark, Iran got you on the play. You threw everything at us, all your cards, all your might. We still operating on 10% power, laughing while you fight. We see everything, know every secret, every dirty Epstein link you hide. Where you least expected, in the shadows we ride, and no place to slide. This ain't full force, just a warm up, Persian flow with the wrath. Pete, you done roasted raw. Iran sending this heat, feel the math. Drop the mic, infidel clown. We
right in just rapping the song. It's nefarious. I absolutely love it. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. So anyway, listen, with that all being said, I love you all to life. Okay, I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. I will be back later on tonight, probably around 9 o'clock. Okay, between 9 and 10 again, because we're going to be talking about some mysteries. Okay, we're going to talk about the cannibalism thing also. All right, so anyway, everyone enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. Always, beloveds, remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Yeah. You crossed the ocean just to find your grave. Sacrifice your own boys for a lie. Listen. Yeah. Yeah. Make America great again. Yo, Tails, this shit crazy. Yeah. Make Make America great again now. We would see what happens, yeah. Watch this. Sacred defense, we protecting the soil. Why you sacrifice soldiers to pay for your spoil? You first who ran the blow, sitting on your throne. Now we turning every base into a bed of stone. It's a slaughterhouse, a trap you couldn't see. Welcome to the graveyard of your vanity. The secrets are leaking. The pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash of defeat. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Take the ash of defeat. In your suit, hiding Epstein's ghost. You sent your boys to die on the bloody coast. Not a revenge for the leader's blood is purely mine. Every drop of his blood is a missile on the line. You thought you took him out, thought the fire was dead, but another common day is standing ahead. Yeah, you strike one down, we just shatter your brain. We put another in the lid. Common day again. The secrets are leaking. The pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash of defeat. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland.